Hello and welcome to our video for week 2 of The Way of the Desert. My wife and I celebrate our silver wedding anniversary this year, and looking back I'd have to say that our marriage preparation was almost non-existent, though by God's grace we seem to have muddled through all right. One question I do remember being asked though was this: have you and Bev had your first row yet? It seemed a rather strange question at the time, but looking back it was a very sensible thing to ask us. For one of the best ways to get to know someone, and one of the most useful tests of the strength of any relationship, lies in what happens when it all goes horribly wrong. Last week we travelled with the Israelites from the Red Sea to Mount Sinai, and for the next couple of weeks we'll be camped by that mountain, a place where the Israelites spent the best part of a year. So what was going on during that time? Why does the story of that year occupy no fewer than 59 chapters in the Bible, from Exodus chapter 19 right through to Numbers chapter 10? At least part of what was going on is that the Israelites were getting to know their God in the aftermath of the golden calf disaster, that moment in which it had all gone horribly wrong. It hadn't just been a little tiff, of course, a minor hiccup in their relationship. No, the Israelites' decision to make and worship this shiny new idol had been a blatant act of spiritual adultery, committed at just the time when the Lord and his people should have been enjoying the happiest of honeymoons. Yet it was out of that disaster that Israel began to get the measure of this God who had called her out of Egypt, and of just how committed this God was to making the relationship work. God is not to be messed with. In C.S. Lewis's words from the Narnia stories, he is not a tame lion. That is part of the message that the Israelites received over that time. What does it mean that God is a holy God, a jealous God, a mysterious God who reveals himself in that cryptic name Yahweh, Jehovah, I am who I am? If we're ever tempted to take God lightly, these chapters present us with a serious reality check. But there's another side here too. For in these chapters we find a God of amazing grace, a God who remains faithful even when his people are fickle, a God of justice and compassion, a God who is with us always. If we've been brought up to see God as a stern, forbidding figure, that is way wider the mark as well. And in all this, of course, we see it fleshed out in the person of Jesus, God getting under our skin. So that once again this week we have some gospel readings to accompany the Exodus story. Readings that speak of the character of God as expressed both through what Jesus teaches and who Jesus is. It's hardly a comfortable view of God that we are presented with in the desert, but something far richer and more exciting than that. We're called away from a rather trivial view of life, from what in one chapter I call the worship of choice, to something much deeper, what I call the way of covenant. And thinking back again to our wedding day 25 years ago, and thinking back further still to the day on which I committed my life to Christ, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, I'd have to say that I found the way of covenant to be a wonderful and purposeful, fruitful and joyful way to live. So as we focus on God in the desert this week, I hope you enjoy our readings as much as I have. Thanks for listening.